I before I about a month before I came, uh, I contracted the flu, and then that turned into bronchitis, and then it, you know, went away, got checked out and so forth. But my question was, I remember you saying, talking about how sickness is part of the illusion. I am not a body. I am mind, and mind cannot attack itself. Therefore, I cannot be sick. And I tried that, and failed. So, yeah, I obviously there's something. I mean, I really worked on it hard, but my ego was just going, yeah, try this. And I ended up going to urgent care and getting a few magic pills, and I'm okay. But it didn't do much for my confidence, and so I just thought I'd put that out there and see what you could tell me.
Yeah, that's like an equation almost Jesus inserted in the Course to as a remedy for the temptation of sickness. I am not a body, and my mind cannot attack, so I cannot be sick. It's like a A, B, C, boom, 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 tight. The ego can't get in there. Well, when you start off with I am not a body, the ego will go, ha, 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 oh, God, ha, 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 ha. You see, doesn't like any part of that equation, but it's going to laugh at the first part. It's like, right, you're not a body. So the body and the world and the stars and everything of this world is a projection, is a distracted device, is a false identity. It's an imposter self. It's more of a smokescreen to keep the mind's attention from going in the mind. In fact, the whole point of why the ego projected the world and the cosmos was to keep the mind mindless. In fact, it's essential that for the ego to continue to perpetuate and seem to exist, that you forget that you have a mind. In fact, it wants you to be so convinced that you're a body, and bodies have what? Brains. You notice how the medical model is always pointing to the body and the brain. Everything's the body and the brain. Body, brain, body, brain. It wants you to get so mesmerized into physicality that you forget about the mind completely. You forget that you even have a mind. You just fall deep asleep like Inception with layers and layers and layers of dreaming, and so addicted and riveted on the body and the brain. And that's, again, just like the ego tells us that the past determines our present and then our future. It also says that the world determines the body and the brain. The world produces the body, mom and dad. The world produces the brain, and what you are existing with is just that format. It doesn't really want you to explore that second part, and my mind cannot attack. In fact, that's why it projected wars, pestilence. That's why it projected nature with animals killing and eating other animals and everything. The cosmos, and even we could call nature, what seems to be, here we are surrounded by all the critters and everything. Everything is a projection of attack, because the ego wants you to see the attack in the world. People attacking each other, psychological attacks, animals attacking, weather attacks, tsunamis, tornado attacks, hurricane attacks, attack, solar flares, go along the earth all these years, oh yeah, boom, solar flare, gotcha, scorched. All the humans and the oceans and everything scorched in one instant. It's all it is the projection of attack. It's a projection of attack. Because why? Because the ego does not want you to look at that whole idea of attack in terms of the mind. I am not a body. It goes ha 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 ha. And my mind cannot attack. If my mind cannot attack, then the separation must be impossible. If my mind cannot attack, it must be I am still as God created me. God doesn't attack. God is love. And if I'm a creation of God, and I live in the mind of God, if I'm an idea in the mind of God, and God doesn't attack, I can't attack either. And if I can't attack at a mind level, then guilt is impossible. And if guilt is impossible, I cannot be sick. Because all symptoms are, what are defined as illness, is the projection of guilt. And Jesus says this many, many different ways in the Course. He says sickness is anger taken out upon the body. Anger what? Anger of the mind that believed it separated from God, the mind that believes it can attack, projected. That's what symptoms are. And then it does this whole causation thing. It says, oh, Jesus calls these projections of guilt onto the body in terms of symptoms. He says there's a quick forgetting. In other words, you decide to do it. You decide the symptom that the body will get, and then you quickly forget. And you play the victim.